Folks, welcome back to church. Another week here, and another week of learning about the Bible. I will say that I believe it has been incredibly useful for me, Jeopardy wise. Um, and then I want to say that a good portion of what we learned last time, the creation of man, I guess mankind, right? From what was Adam and Eve to what we are as humanity, to me is like blah blah blah. It's like Seinfeld. It's like that Seinfeld episode, and yada yada yada. And it's like you can't yada yada. No, you can't yada 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 that. And this happened for a while, and then people believed in God. It's like okay. So there's like the first big thing, I guess, in the old Bible that I'm like, all right, this is like this is when if I was an older generation person, and again, this is just my thinking, right? But if I was an older generation person, I would have like read that, and I would have went, okay. Oh wait. Oh, I was trying to figure out what that is, but it must be a hair. Do you see that on my head? Right there? What is that? What is that? Hold on, what is that? It's got to be a reflection, right? There's no shadows around it. If it's not a reflection, it's got to be a smudge. If it's a smudge, how did it get so perfectly flat like that? That's got to be a hair, right? Like a tiny little hair. Like one of my mustache hairs. Wow, interesting. Okay, hold on. Huh. Let me try to reach that. I'm curious. Hold up. This is not good. We shouldn't do this. Oh, wait, did it move? Oh, that's what it is. It's a reflection of my microphone. Okay, well, it doesn't bother me that much. I was just curious as to what it was. All right, folks, let's get back to the churchin', okay? Boom.
God said to Noah and his sons,
I am giving you my blessing. Have a lot of children and grandchildren, so people will live everywhere on this earth. All animals, birds, reptiles, and fish will be afraid of you. I have placed them under your control, and I have given them to you for food. From now on, you may eat them as well as the green plants that you have always eaten.
Oh, it is ordained from upon high. So sorry, vegans. So sorry. The Bible is not in support. I love steak. I'm so sorry. Um, so this is great. This is great. Me and the Bible, we have a common goal of wanting to eat steak. Look, this is the most evil part of me. I think that I think I can acknowledge is that I'm pretty cool with like these are animals, right? We are humans. We won the battle for supremacy on top of the food chain. We won that battle. We won that fight. We should not so easily give that fight up, and be so like whimsical of like, oh, like Jurassic Park. Don't mess with nature. Let's just be man, and let's let nature be nature. We need to be careful, and that's kind of me being as conspiracy theory as evil, I would say, as I possibly can be. Is that I don't know why I think that, but I do. So it's nice to see in the Bible. I just really like it. All animals, birds, reptiles, and fish will be afraid of you. I don't think birds are afraid of us. I think birds are like, man, these messy humans. Like, birds know what they're doing. They look down on us, brother. Like, when you watch Mufasa, I loved that part in Mufasa. Can I look? Oh, maybe we can just watch it. I think we can because it's educational. I think we can because it's educational. Oh my goodness. Okay. New tab, I guess. We'll come back to this. Let's see. Mufasa. Mufasa, brother, song. So a little bit later, they go and they're talking about. Yeah, yeah. See, so right here you get. This is maybe my second favorite movie of the last year. Wicked was really, really good, and then I actually really loved Mufasa. I quietly loved it. Mufasa, one, looked good. Two, added to the history of a great Disney villain. Gave him a proper villain song, which the original Lion King live action did not do, which is horribly, I think, unforgivable. And I guess without Timon and Pumbaa, it could have been a really fantastically tight knit prequel, sequel thing. But there's one cool, awesome thing about this is that it's written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and I love the depth of his lyrics. So, you may look down on them, but they are free. So he's talking about the birds, right? So you think about Scar and how he hates Zazu, like in the original, and you could just see he just despises that they can do something he will never be able to do, and he's the king.
Three. Those birds are watching the world unfold. The world unfold. Oh.
See, and it's cute. It's a cute movie. It's like, oh my god, the little cute little lions. Come on now. This is a good fucking movie. This should have won movie of the year for the animated one. Wicked should have won musical of the year. Okay. I'm cool with the subject, I guess, being movie of the, anyway.
Oh, brother, my brother. When I'm king, they will do as they're told.
When I'm king, they will do as they're told.
You may look down on them, but they are free. You can't catch me. And where they go cannot be controlled.
Where they go cannot be controlled. Just like with the fish. We want to go to the ocean? Yeah, go to the ocean. Go ahead and talk to the Ocean Gate people. See how that worked out. Go up in the air. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go do that. You see how that worked out. Right? Like, it's just like, man, you're going into their world. The sky, the air. You cannot control them there.
No one looks down on me. They look down on us, brother.
See, so Mufasa gets it, right? Mufasa understands. He's like, yeah, they look down on us. They are of a different thing completely. So,
Genesis
oh no.
9.
On this earth. Meat you have always.
So yeah, animals, fish, all this stuff will be afraid of you. I don't think that's necessarily the truth. I think birds can look down on you. I think reptiles definitely don't care. Like, reptiles are their own kind of thing. Some of them are super nice. Yeah, animals are just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful things that, I mean, I do kind of follow this where it's like I'm man and I'm going to always choose team human, but I just love the difference in animals and the freedoms that they have that we will never get to experience as humans. I have placed them under your control. I have given them to you for food. From now on, you may eat them, as well as the green plants that you have always eaten.
On, you may eat them as well as the green plants that you have always eaten. But life is in the blood, and you must not eat any meat that still has blood in it. I created you.
Wait. But life is in the blood, and you must not eat any meat that still has blood in it. Oh, shit. Well, I'm pretty sure that's like non-kosher meat, right? So basically what that means... Sorry, I'm looking for... I don't know where I put it. They look down on us, brother. It's right there. But life is in the blood, and you must not eat any meat that still has blood in it. Interesting. So, like, I would imagine that, again, back in ancient times, right, 2,000 years ago, I would imagine that blood probably carried a lot of diseases, and people who drank blood, probably some crazy people, some really religious crazy people, blood, like we love drinking blood. I would imagine, right, because people thought, oh, you lose blood That means if you drink blood, that must be good. I imagine that the simplistic thinking was like that. So, but then people started doing that and they got incredibly ill, very sick, horribly sick. Okay. Now, you can see a world where people are like, oh, those blood drinkers, we can't do that. And then here all this stuff happens. And let's say that this was written, okay? I could see humanity going, yeah, no. If our blood's bad and we're human, imagine what drinking their blood would do to us. And people probably did. They probably were like, yeah, human sacrifice not so good. Ghost sacrifice, though? Maybe. Let's drink that blood. How's that going to go? Do you know what I mean? So, like, I can see all of these things taking place, right? And being, like, realistic things that a human being might say, all right.
To be like me, and I will punish any animal or person that takes a human life.
I will punish any animal or human person or person that takes a human life.
If an animal kills someone, that animal must die.
If an animal kills someone, that animal must die.
And if a person takes the life of another, that person must be put to death.
But, okay, now these are interesting rules here.
I want you and your descendants to have many children, so people will live everywhere on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Again, God said to Noah and his sons,
I am going to make a solemn promise to you and to everyone who will live after you. This includes the birds and the animals that came out of the boat. I promise every living creature that the earth and those living on it will never again be destroyed by a flood.
Oh.
The rainbow that
I love this part of the story. So I'm a big Ricky Gervais fan. And he has a whole famous bit about Noah and the ark. And this is kind of a lot of what I know about this story. Oh no, where are we at? 2532. 2532. Okay. Ricky Gervais, Noah. And I used this recently for the game Kingdom Come 2 Deliverance on our channel, because that game seemed to me to be a bit, not straight, which is interesting from a game of that caliber, one that is going after a certain kind of audience, a very manly audience, a very realistic audience, a very, we don't like, DEI, women, woke type stuff in our media type audience, right? So when this stuff was happening, I referenced this part of it, and it was very, I love this whole thing, to be honest. I wish we could watch the whole thing, but
See what happens. Yeah. I'll see what happens. Bloke there running off with a
look
big
at them
bag of
being
money.
wicked.
Don't put it in a bank, you cunt. Right. God looked at them and said to himself, they are so wicked, I will have to wipe them off the face of the earth. Really?
So, like, obviously Ricky Gervais grew up, I believe, Catholic and very religious. I think he actually grew up in, like, one of those situations where you would go to, like, you would go to the place and you'd live there for school, right? Like a Catholic school where you'd live in the dorms and you would live with the nuns and stuff. I think that's how. Maybe I'm talking bullshit. Maybe I'm mixing him with Bill Burr. Anyway, Ricky Gervais seems pretty knowledgeable about this topic. He's done a lot of comedy surrounding it. And this is probably why I react the way I do, is because I grew up watching comedians. This is kind of how I react. But I want to get to the part where he's talking about, right here.
I said, Carl, God is not gay, okay?
I could tell by the facial expression, by the way. That's how many times I've seen this video.
Read the Bible, he hates them.
Oh, we'll get there.
They are so wicked, I will have to wipe them off the face of the earth. and every living thing with them. The kid, I will have to wipe.
Oh man, I
Noah
miss.
was still
Oh, here we
very
go.
good. His name was Noah. He was a friend of God. Just a friend.
Just a
Let
friend.
know.
Henry is just a friend to Hans. Just a friend. I've been trolling those players all. I mean, really, when I started playing the game, it wasn't really actually like that at all. But it has been fun. It has been quite fun to kind of like reverse the effect of coming in, trashing okay TV shows, saying they're garbage and terrible and awful and they should not have been made. But if they had not have been made, then nothing would have been made. Your movie would not have been made. Like, your favorite little TV shows would not have been made. Like, the ones that were made were the ones that were made. And you shit on them. Sorry, I'm getting offensive. I'm sorry. Ricky. And so, anyway, it's nice to reverse it, where it's like, okay, I get to, like, not be mean, like maybe other people might be, but I get to, like, kind of get my pound of flesh. And that's what I did.
Just a friend. A friend.
A friend.
Big hooped earrings.
The comedic timing. Obviously, it's just a book that was written by somebody, right? So we're reading a slightly different version of it, right? 2532, we said.
Genesis 9. God said to Noah and his...
The rainbow that I have put in the sky will be my sign to you and to every living creature on earth. It will remind you that I will keep this promise forever.
Which is really fun. It's like so interesting. It's like, yeah, gay people, like, they took the rainbow. It's like,
When I send clouds over the earth and a rainbow appears in the sky, I will remember my promise to you and to all other living creatures. Never again will I let floodwaters destroy all life.
all life.
When I see
All
the rainbow in the sky, I will always
life.
remember the promise that I have made to every living creature.
So, real quick, why does God have to promise anything?
The rainbow will be the sign of that solemn
Why?
promise.
Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, came out of the boat. Ham later had a son named Canaan. All people on earth are descendants
Canaanites.
of Noah's 3 sons. Noah farmed the land and was the first to plant a vineyard.
I'm
One
so
day he
annoyed
got drunk
with losing
and
stuff.
was lying naked
Got
in his
drunk.
tent. Ham entered the tent and saw him naked, then went back outside and told his brothers.
What?
Shem and Japheth put a robe over their shoulders and walked backward into the tent. Without looking at their father, they placed it over his body. When Noah woke up and learned what his youngest son Ham had done, he said,
I now put a curse on Canaan. He will be the lowest slave of his brothers.
What? For
I
what?
asked the Lord my God to bless Shem
Why, you didn't put the lock on the tent cover, bro? Like, come on now.
and make Canaan his slave. I pray that the Lord will give Japheth more and more land and let him take over the territory of Shem. May Canaan be his slave.
Dang.
Noah lived 350 years after the flood and died at the age of 950.
It's so even. It's so, like, even, right? When has anything ever been so even? Sorry.
Genesis 10.
All right, Gen 10.
After the flood, Shem, Ham, and Japheth had many descendants.
Yeah, what about Japheth's
Japheth's descendants
Canaanites?
had their own languages, tribes, and land.
Okay.
They were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal,
Tubal, I think I know
Meshach,
about.
and Tyrus. Gomer was the ancestor of Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. Javan was the ancestor of Elisha,
Okay.
Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim, who settled along the coast. Ham's descendants had their own languages, tribes, and land. They were Ethiopia, Egypt, Put, and Canaan.
Okay.
Cush was the ancestor of Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Raamah, and Sabtika. Raamah was the ancestor of Sheba.
All right, we're doing it again. We're doing the
Cush
thing
was
again.
also the ancestor of Nimrod, a mighty warrior whose strength came from the Lord. Nimrod is the reason for the saying, "You hunt like Nimrod with the strength of the Lord."
Interesting. Okay, so for me, Nimrod has always been a negative connotation. Always. Like, it's kind of like a dummy, like an idiot. Cush was also the ancestor of Nimrod, a mighty warrior whose strength came from the Lord. I think I'm gonna, like, the next person I don't like, I'm gonna be like, hey, how's it going, Nimrod? I don't know. That's mean. Maybe I won't.
Cush first ruled in Babylon, Erech, and Akkad, all of which were in Babylonia. From there, Nimrod went to Assyria and built the great city of Nineveh. He also built Rehoboth.
Nineveh. Heaven. Nevaeh is the other one. Nineveh. Got it.
And Calah, as well as Resen, which is between Nineveh and Calah.
Okay.
Egypt was the ancestor of Ludim, Anamim, Lahabim, Naphtuhim, Pathrusim, Casluhim, and Caphtorim, the ancestor of the Philistines. Canaan's sons were Sidon and Heth. He was also the ancestor of the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girgashites, the Hivites.
When you say
the
he,
Arkites,
do you mean
the
Heth,
Sinites,
Sidon, or Canaan?
The Arvadites, the Zemarites,
I guess, but
and
all?
the
They all make
Hamathites.
that, I guess, whatever.
Later, the Canaanites spread from the territory of Sidon and went as far as Gaza in the direction of Gerar. They also went as far as Lasha in the direction of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah.
We know Sodom and Gomorrah.
Zeboiah.
We know that.
Shem's descendants had their own languages, tribes, and land. He was the older brother of Japheth and the ancestor of the tribes of Eber. Shem was the ancestor of Elam, Asher, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. Aram was the ancestor of Uz, Hul, Jether, and Mash. Arpachshad was the father of Shelah and the grandfather of Eber, whose first son was named Peleg, because it was during his time that tribes divided up the earth. Eber's second son was Joktan.
Oh, man.
Joktan was the ancestor of Almodad, Sheleph, Hazarmaveth, Jirah, Hadoram, Uzal, Diklah, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. Their land reached from Mesha in the direction of Sephir, the hill country in the east. This completes the list of Noah's descendants.
Really?
After the flood, their descendants became nations and spread all over the world.
Yep, so after the flood, they all just kind of separate, and that's how we have the different, things. Got it. So this is Genesis, is this book 2?
Genesis 11. At first, everyone spoke the same language, but after some of them moved from the east and settled in Babylonia...
Hold up. I am recording, right? Oh, good. Oh, good. I was going to say, I can't do it again, brother.
They said,
Let's build a city with a tower that reaches to the sky. We'll use hard bricks and tar instead of stone and mortar. We'll become famous, and we won't be scattered all over the world.
But when the Lord came down to look at the city and the tower, he said,
These people are working together because they all speak the same language. This is just the beginning. Soon they will be able to do anything they want. Come on, let's
Interesting.
go down and confuse them by making them speak different languages. Then they won't be able to understand each other.
So the people had to stop building the city because the Lord confused their language and scattered them all over the earth. That's how the city of Babel got its name.
Right, so you're babbling on. You're a babbler. Interesting. So the people had to stop building the city because the Lord confused their language. So they were on the path of building something spectacular. Humanity was, prospering. And God was like, well, can't have that. Can't have that. Why not? So it's interesting, the connotation there is, come on, let's confuse him. So it's, come on, let's go down and confuse him. Who's he talking to? These people are working together because they all speak the same language. This is just the beginning. Soon they will be able to do anything they want. Beginning implies an end. And if the end, soon they will able to do whatever they want means that they will become gods? Does that mean that God might perhaps have once been just human? At least the one that is speaking here. Does it not at least imply that a little bit? Could I at least not BS that in some way?
Making them speak different languages. Then they...
Because Babel got its name. 2 years after the flood, when Shem was 100, he had a son named
Nice and even.
Arpachshad. He had more children and died at the age of 600.
Nice.
This is a list of his descendants.
No.
He had a son named Shelah. Arpachshad had more children and died at the age of 438. When Shelah was 30, he had a son named Eber. Shelah had more children and died at the age of 433.
Hey, there we
When
go.
Eber was 34, he had a son named
Hey, finally, some normal numbers. This is the chapter where they were like, starting to sound a little even.
When Peleg was 30, he had a son named Reu.
Can we throw in a 39?
Peleg had more children and died at the age of 239. When Reu was 32, he had a son named Serah. Reu had more children and died at the age of 239. When
I think
Serah
this
was
is also
30,
just
he
kind
had
of
a
like
son
whittling
named
down
Nahor.
the age of
Serah
humanity.
had more children and died at the age of 230.
Interestingly, wouldn't you want, interesting how, like, God, right, has said, they're building a great city, they're becoming too much like us, seemingly, this is just the beginning, right? Let's go ahead and do this, confuse them, make them speak different languages, and then throughout the descendancies, they will slowly and slowly lower their lifespan, slower and slower and slower. So, in this past 100 years, where our lifespan has been going higher, is this not something that maybe God might be worried about? And that maybe perhaps having the world be populated through this context could be, dragged the other way.
When Nahor was 29,
because it seems like God is trying to lower the lifespan of humanity here. Like, that's what this seems to be
After Terah
explaining.
was 70 years old, he had 3 sons, Abram, Nahor, and Haran, who became the father of Lot. Terah's sons were born in the city of Ur in Chaldea, and Haran died there before the death of his father. The following is the story of Terah's descendants.
We don't need it. We don't need it.
Abram married Sarai,
Ancillary.
but
We
she
don't
was
need
not
it.
able to have any
Insipid.
children. And Nahor married Milcah, who was the daughter of Haran and the sister of Iscah. Terah decided to move from Ur to the land of Canaan. He took along Abram and Sarai and his grandson Lot, the son of Haran. But when they came to the city of Haran, they decided to settle there instead. Terah lived to be 205 years old and died in Haran.
Okay.
Genesis 12.
Yeah.
The Lord said to Abram,
Leave your country, your family, and your relatives, and go to the land that I will show you. I will bless you and make your descendants into a great nation.
Okay.
You will become famous and be a blessing to others. I will bless anyone who blesses you, but I will put a curse on anyone who puts a curse on you.
Okay. Fair deal.
Everyone on earth will be blessed because of you.
Abram was 75 years old when the Lord told him to leave the city of Haran. He obeyed and left with his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all the possessions and slaves they had gotten while in Haran.
Slaves.
When they came to the land of Canaan,
Wait. God, here, hold up. Well, I guess they're a different religion, right? So that would be different. They play by different rule books, just like maybe, they're a different country, which means they're illegal, which means they're illegal, which means we don't think that they're human, right? Which is a horrible thing to think. Okay, now, already we have slaves. God didn't say we lorded over humanity. I don't think God said anything about that so far. So the fact that they have slaves like this is interesting, although maybe perhaps slaves predated, like even writing, right? Like maybe slaves is just what humans did to other non-known humans, right? So perhaps that was just maybe a pre-written rule, right? So that when they did write the rules, that didn't come into play. That we now as modern humans have gone, oh yeah, obviously. So it's like, okay, maybe it was written in that sense where it's like, yeah, no, slaves, yeah, because we think of slaves like this, but back then, slaves were just, that's exactly what it was. It's like, you're not my kind of people, slave. You're not my kind of people, you lost out with slave. Just watch the Vikings, like, they'll slave anybody. You're slave, king, slave, immediate slave. Anyway, got it. However, it's interesting that, oh man, you've cursed people, I will curse you. You do good to people, I will do good to you. You've got slaves.
Abram went as far as the sacred tree of Morah in a place called Shechem.
So did we change God's morality, right? This is the Old Testament. We changed it when it was the New, interestingly.
The Canaanites were still living in the land at that time, but the Lord appeared to Abram and promised,
I will give this land to your family forever.
Abram then built an altar there for the Lord. Abram traveled to the hill country east of Bethel and camped between Bethel and Ai, where he built another altar and worshipped the Lord. Later, Abram started out toward the southern desert. The crops failed, and there was no food anywhere in the land. So Abram and his wife Sarai went to live in Egypt for a while.
Okay.
But just before they got there, he said,
Sarai, you are really beautiful. When the Egyptians see how lovely you are, they will murder me because I'm your husband. But they won't kill you. Please save my life by saying that you are my sister.
It's getting a little like, oh, could it be all along that some dude was caught messing with his sister and had to go, no, we're not actually siblings. Believe me, God and Canaan and their descendants and Shem and all of these people. And then they had people. And then they had people, and 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 they had people. And they had people. And they had people. Kind of interesting.
As soon as Abram and Sarai arrived in Egypt, the Egyptians noticed how beautiful she was.
And they killed him?
The king's officials told him about her, and she was taken to his house.
Oh, no.
The king was good to Abram because of Sarai, and Abram was given sheep, cattle, donkeys, slaves,
Wonderful.
and camels. Because of Sarai, the Lord struck the king and everyone in his palace with terrible diseases.
I feel like you could probably sell today's current MAGA on slaves. It's in the Bible. God didn't hate slaves. Because of Sarai, the Lord struck the king and everyone in his palace with a terrible diseases. Oh.
Finally, the king sent for Abram and said to him,
What have you done to me? Why didn't you tell me Sarai was your wife? Why did you make me believe she was your sister? Now I've married her. Take her and go. She's your wife.
So the king told his men to let Abram
I'm
and
so
Sarai
sorry.
take their possessions and leave.
So Abram is told at the age of 75 to leave with his wife and his slaves and all these people and go travel. So he does. When he goes, oh man, wife, you're just so pretty. You're so beautiful that I have to tell people that you're my sister. And all these other people around us are not our children, but our other family. And all these slaves will say so, too, that we are brother and sister. Or maybe they're just really brother and sister. And then that, like, you know what I mean? So, like, maybe that happened, right? So now Abram goes to this new place, and then they all go with Sarai. Uh-oh, but Sarai's married. Uh-oh, and they know it because obviously back then it's women. Like, oh, if you're with somebody, you're with somebody. That's it. And if you're just his sister, then you would be not deflowered, and you have been deflowered. Uh-oh, but they've been with her anyway. And then they're, like, getting terrible diseases, and they're like, motherfucker. Sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I'm so sorry. I need to learn. Okay, we need to be a little bit better. So sorry. We've had a weirdly interesting day. I am super sorry that maybe you're watching this and you're like, super. I need to remember the audience here. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of recap that story. It's interesting.
Genesis 13. Abram and Sarai took everything they owned and went to the southern desert. Lot went with them. Abram was very rich. He owned many cattle, sheep, and goats, and had a lot of silver and gold.
Only some slaves.
Abram moved from place to place in the southern desert, and finally he went north and set up his tents between Bethel and Ai, where he had earlier camped, and built an altar.
Wait.
There he was in cattle, as whites were living with all of their animals. Besides, there wasn't enough pasture land left for Abram and Lot with all of their animals. Besides,
They just repeat?
the men who took care of Abram's animals and the ones who took care of Lot's animals started quarreling. Abram said to Lot,
We are close relatives. We shouldn't argue, and our men shouldn't be fighting one another. There is plenty of land for you to choose from. Let's separate. If you go north, I'll go south. If you go south, I'll go north.
This happened before the Lord had destroyed the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. And when Lot looked around, he saw there was plenty of water in the Jordan Valley. All the way to Zoar, the valley was as green as the garden of the Lord or the land of Egypt. So Lot chose the whole Jordan Valley for himself.
Damn.
And as he started toward the east, he and Abram separated. Abram stayed in the land of Canaan. But Lot settled near the cities of the valley and put up his tents not far from Sodom, where the people were evil and sinned terribly against the Lord. After Abram and Lot had gone their separate ways, the Lord said to Abram,
Look around to the north, south, east, and west. I will give you and your family all the land you can see. It will be theirs forever. I will give you more descendants than there are specks of dust on the earth. And someday it will be easier to count the specks of dust than to count your descendants.
Someday.
Now
Doubt
walk
it.
back and forth across the land, because I am giving it to you.
Abram took down his tents and went to live near the sacred trees of Mamre at Hebron, where he built an altar in honor of the Lord.
Okay.
Genesis 14.
Let's do a time check.
About
We're at
this time,
35.
King Amraphel
37,
of Babylonia,
okay.
King Arioch of Elasar, King Kedorlaomer of Elam, and King Tidal of Goyim attacked King Bera of Sodom, King Birsha of Gomorrah, King Shinab of Admah,
Uh-oh.
King Shemeber of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, also known as the city of Zoar. King Kedorlaomer and his allies had ruled these last 5 kings for 12 years. But in the 13th year, the kings rebelled and came together in Siddim Valley,
13.
which is now covered by the southern part of the Dead Sea. A year later, King Kedorlaomer and his allies attacked and defeated the Rephaites in Ashtaroth Karnaim, the Zuzites in Ham, and the Emites in Sheva Kiriathaim.
So good
Also
battles.
defeated the Horites in the hill country of Edom as far as El Paran near the desert. They went back to the city of En-Mishpat, better known as Kadesh. Then they captured all the land that belonged to the Amalekites, and they defeated the Amorites who were living in Hazazon Tamar. At Siddim Valley, the armies of the kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Bela fought the armies of King Kedorlaomer of Elam,
Yep.
King Tidal of Goyim,
Yep.
King Amraphel of Babylonia, and King Arioch of Elasar. The valley was full of tar pits, and when the troops from Sodom and Gomorrah started running away, some of them fell into the pits. Others escaped to the hill country. Their enemies took everything of value from Sodom and Gomorrah, including their food supplies. They also captured Abram's nephew Lot, who lived in Sodom.
Uh-oh.
They took him and his possessions and then left.
Oh, man.
At this time, Abram the Hebrew was living near the oaks that belonged to Mamre the Amorite. Mamre and his brothers Eshcol and Aner were Abram's friends. Someone who had escaped from the battle told Abram that his nephew Lot had been taken away. 318 of Abram's servants were fighting men.
Servants
So he
now.
took them and followed the enemy as
Okay.
far north as the city of Dan. That night, Abram
He rolled
divided
up.
his troops, attacked from all sides, and won a great victory. But some of the enemy escaped to the town of Hobah north of Damascus, and Abram went after them. He brought back his nephew Lot, together with Lot's possessions and the women and everyone else who had been captured.
Okay.
Abram
Hero
returned
Abram.
after he had defeated King Chedorlaomer and the other kings. Then the king of Sodom went to meet Abram in Sheva Valley, which is also known as King's Valley. King Melchizedek of Salem was a priest of God Most High. He brought out some bread and wine and said to Abram,
I bless you in the name of God Most High, creator of heaven and earth.
Okay.
All praise belongs to God Most High for helping you defeat your enemies.
Then Abram gave Melchizedek a tenth of everything. The king of Sodom said to Abram,
All I want are my people. You can keep everything else.
Abram answered,
The Lord God Most High made the heavens and the earth, and I have promised him that I won't keep anything of yours, not even a sandal strap or a piece of thread. Then you can never say that you are the one who made me rich. Let my share be the food that my men have eaten. But Anah, Eshcol, and Mamre went with me, so give them their share of what we brought back.
Okay.
Genesis 15. Later the Lord spoke to Abram in a vision.
Abram,
Don't be afraid.
I will protect you.
I
and
will
reward
protect
you greatly.
you.
But Abram answered,
Lord, all-powerful,
You have given me everything I could ask for, except children.
and when I die,
And when I die, Eliza.
you have not given me any children, and this servant of mine will inherit everything.
The Lord replied,
No, he won't.
No, it's okay. We got a
Have
different
son
plan.
of your own, and everything you have will be his.
Oh, okay.
Then the Lord took Abram outside and said,
Look at the sky and see if you can count the stars. That's how many descendants you will have.
Abram believed the Lord, and the Lord was pleased with him. The Lord said to Abram,
I brought you here from Ur in Chaldea, and I gave you this land.
Abram asked,
Lord God, how can I know the land will be mine?
Then the Lord told him,
Bring me a 3-year-old cow, a 3-year-old female goat, a 3-year-old ram, a dove, and a young pigeon.
Can you imagine the quest? Oh my
Then
goodness.
he cut the animals in half and laid the two halves of each animal opposite each other on
Who?
the ground.
Who?
But he did not cut the doves and pigeons in half. And when birds came down to eat the animals, Abram chased them away. As the sun was setting, Abram fell
They
into a
look
deep
down on
sleep,
us, brother.
and everything became dark and frightening.
Even against the Lord. The Lord was there, and the birds were like,
Abram,
I'm gonna
you
eat
will
anyway.
live to an old age and die in peace.
Wonderful.
But I solemnly promise that your descendants will live as foreigners in a land that doesn't belong to them.
Oh.
They will be forced into slavery.
Oh.
Abused for 400 years.
Oh.
But I will terribly punish the nation that enslaves them, and they will leave with many possessions.
What if it's ourselves?
4 generations later, your descendants will return here and take this land, because only then will the people who live here be so sinful that they deserve to be punished.
Dang.
Sometime after sunset, when it was very dark, a smoking cooking pot and a flaming fire went between the two halves of each animal. At that time, the Lord made an agreement with Abram and told him,
I will give your descendants the land east of the Shihor River on the border of Egypt as far as the Euphrates River. They will possess the land of the Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Rephaites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Girgashites, and the Jebusites.
Jeez, that's a lot of little countries there.
Genesis 16.
How much time we got?
Abram's wife Sarai had not been able to have any children.
About
but
10
she
minutes.
owned a young Egyptian slave woman named Hagar. And Sarai said to Abram,
The Lord has not given me any children. Sleep with my slave,
Oh,
and if she has
no.
a child, it will be mine.
No,
Abram
no.
agreed, and Sarai gave him Hagar to be his wife. This happened after Abram had lived in the land of Canaan for 10 years.
No, sir.
Later, when Hagar knew she was going to have a baby, she became proud and was hateful to Sarai. Then Sarai said to Abram,
It's all your fault. I gave you my slave woman, but she has been hateful to me ever since she found
Yeah, of
out
course.
she was pregnant. You
Of
have
course.
done me wrong, and you will have to answer to the Lord for this.
Abram
Yeah,
said,
kind of.
All right. She's your slave, and you can do whatever you want with her.
But Sarai began treating Hagar so harshly that she finally ran away. Hagar stopped to rest at a spring in the desert on the road to Shur. While she was there, the angel of the Lord came to her and asked,
Hagar, where have you come from, and where are you going?
She answered,
Ain't that like the police? Oh my. Where you coming from? Yeah, we're headed tonight. Where you heading tonight? You see him in like sunglasses, big wings flapping. Hey, how's it going? You slow down your camel there for me? Why don't you hop on down? Let's have a little discussion. Been hitting the blood, the blood of Christ a little bit too hard tonight, huh? These are funny jokes to me. Okay.
I'm running away from Sarah, my owner.
Oh.
The angel said,
Have you come from, and where are you going?
We get Hugh Grant of Angels. Listen.
Asked,
Hagar, where have you come from, and where are you going?
And then immediately they hit us with,
she answered,
I'm running away from Sarah, my owner.
The angel said,
Go back to Sarai and be her slave. I will give you a son who will be called Ishmael. Because I've heard your cry for help. And later I will give you so many descendants that no one will be able to count them all. But your son will live far from his relatives. He will be like a wild donkey, fighting everyone, and everyone fighting him.
oh,
Hagar thought,
a relatable character?
God and live to tell about it?
So from then on, she called him
Who
the
hired
God
her?
Who sees me.
The God who
That's why
sees me.
people call the well between Kadesh and Bered the well of the living one who sees me. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar gave birth to their son, and he named him Ishmael.
Okay,
Genesis
11 years after he left.
17. Abram was 99 years old when the Lord appeared to him
Once
again
I was
and said,
99 years old.
I am God all-powerful. If you obey me and always do right, I will keep my solemn promise to you and give you more descendants than can be counted.
Abram bowed with his face to the ground, and God said,
I promise that you will be the father of many nations. That's why I now change your name from Abram to Abraham. I will give you a lot of descendants, and in the future they will become great nations. Some of them will even be kings.
Is this basically Abraham? This is like
The promise
Judaism,
I have
right?
made to you and your descendants, because I am your God and their God. I will give you and them the land in which you are now a foreigner. I will give the whole land of Canaan to your family forever, and I will be their God. Abraham, you and all future members of your family must promise to obey me.
Uh-oh.
As the sign that you are keeping this promise, you must circumcise every man and
Hey.
boy in your family.
Hey. I feel like I was never given a choice. That's a real feeling. It's a real one. I know that conversation isn't ready to be had, but at some point it will. And not cool. Not cool, Bible. Whoever, Bible, God, whoever, not cool. We'll talk about it at some point. Whether it'll be between me and God or it'll be, more, common parlance. Not cool.
From now on, your family must circumcise every baby boy when he is 8 days old. You must even circumcise any man or boy you have as a slave, both those born in your homes and those you buy from foreigners. This will be a sign that my promise to you will last forever. Any man who isn't circumcised hasn't kept his promise to me and cannot be one of my people.
Uh-oh.
Abraham, your wife's name will now be Sarah instead of Sarai. I will bless her, and you will have a son by her. She will become the mother of nations, and some of her descendants will even be kings.
Okay.
Abraham bowed with his face to the ground and thought,
I'm almost 100 years old. How can I become a father? And Sarah is 90.
Wasn't his dad like 250?
How can she have a child?
So he started laughing. Then he asked God,
Why not let Ishmael inherit what you have promised me?
But God answered,
No, you and Sarah will have a son. His name will be Isaac, and I will make an everlasting promise to him and his descendants. I have heard what you asked me to do for Ishmael, and so I will also bless him with many descendants. He will be the father of 12 princes, and I will make his family a great nation.
Okay.
But your son Isaac will be born about this time next year, and the promise I am making to you and your family will be for him and his descendants forever.
Yeah.
God finished speaking to Abraham and then left. On that same day, Abraham obeyed God by circumcising Ishmael. Abraham was also circumcised, and so were all other men and boys in his household, including his servants and slaves. He was 99 years old at the time, and his son Ishmael was 13.
Dude, a 13-year-old brother? A 13-year-old?
One hot summer afternoon, Abraham...
Do we do more? It's starting to get strange.
Was sitting by the entrance to his tent near the sacred trees of Mamre when the Lord appeared to him. Abraham looked up and saw
What
three
now?
men standing nearby. He quickly ran to meet them, bowed with his face to the ground, and said,
Please, come to my home where I can serve you. I'll have some water brought so you can wash your feet. Then you can rest under the tree. Let me get you some food to give you strength before you leave.
I'll have some water brought to you so you can wash your feet, then you can rest under the tree. I was watching Death Note, an anime, about this guy who gets an unimaginable power, where it's like a little book, it's like a little death book. You write somebody's name in the book, they die. So it's like all powerful, and it's controlled by a demon. So very, very spooky stuff here for you religious folk. Now you bring logic into it, and this dude is a genius. So his whole thing is, I can be a god. With this power, I could be a god. With my genius, I will never get caught, and I will be able to do what I want to do with this world completely, consequence-free. But there's an equal genius to him, who is a detective, who is determined to find out who this person is. So they have this war of logic back and forth of trying to find each other. It's a cat and mouse game. But at some point, they interact, and the detective guy is washing the feet, right? And I heard that there's a story in the Bible where somebody goes to wash somebody's feet because they know they're about to be killed by that person. And that's what that guy does. So it's like really cool that I might get some biblical references here just because I've watched Death Note, and that's awesome.
I would be honored to serve you.
Thank you very much,
they answered.
We accept your offer.
Abraham quickly went to his tent and said to Sarah,
Hurry, get a large sack of flour and make some bread.
After saying this, He rushed off to his herd of cattle and picked out one of the best calves, which his servant quickly prepared. He then served his guests some yogurt and milk together with the meat. While they were eating, he stood near them under the trees, and they asked,
"Where is your wife, Sarah?"
"She's right there, in the tent,"
Abraham answered.
Okay.
One of the guests was the Lord, and
Oh.
he said,
I'll come back about this time next year. And when I do, Sarah will already have a son.
Sarah was behind Abraham, listening at the entrance to the tent. Abraham and Sarah were very old, and Sarah was well past the age for having children. So she laughed and said to herself,
Now that I am worn out and my husband is old, will I really know such happiness?
The Lord asked Abraham,
Why did Sarah laugh? Does she doubt that she can have a child in her old age? I am the Lord.
Oh my goodness. So, here comes three strangers. You greet them. You're like, oh man, one of them happens to be God. And you're like, all right, cool. Ha ha ha. Isn't this funny? We're having some, meat. We're having some bread, some water, right? We're enjoying ourselves. Maybe a little bit of wine here, right? We're enjoying ourselves a little bit. Hey, where's your wife? Hey, bring your wife out here. Bring your wife out here. Look at her. Yeah, she's going to have a kid soon. Oh, God, I can make it happen. Yeah. Oh, yeah, but she's 99 years old. Yeah. Oh, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? He said that he could. He's like, yeah. Yeah, she's going to have a kid next year. Yeah. And then everybody else at the table is just like, oh, wait. Really? Real? Yeah? And then God's like, yeah, bet. Watch. It's gonna happen. That's his vibe right now. And poor Sarah's like, oh my God.
There is nothing too difficult for me.
This is crazy.
I'll come back next
Sorry,
year.
that's a judgmental word, but I mean not crazy as in insane. I mean crazy as in like
Sarah was
wild.
so frightened that she lied and said,
I didn't laugh.
Yes, you did.
he answered. When the three men got ready to leave, they looked down toward Sodom, and Abraham walked part of the way with them. The Lord said to himself,
I should tell Abraham what I'm going to do, since his family will become a great and powerful nation that will be a blessing to all other nations on earth. I have chosen him to teach his family to obey me forever and to do what is right and fair. Then I will give Abraham many descendants, just as I promised.
What are we about to do here, God?
Abraham, I have heard that the people of Sodom and Gomorrah are doing all kinds of evil things.
Yeah.
Now, I am going down to see for myself if those people really are that bad. If they aren't, I want to know about it.
The men turned and started toward Sodom, but
Okay.
the Lord stayed with Abraham, who asked,
"Lord, when you destroy the evil people, are you also going to destroy those who are good? Wouldn't you spare the
Good.
city if there are only 50 good people in it? You surely wouldn't let them be killed when you destroy the evil ones. You are the judge of all the earth, and you do what is right."
The Lord replied,
Oh no, is this gonna be like... Oh no, is he gonna be the ultimate heel? Is God the ultimate bad guy? Lord, is he the ultimate bad... Lord Vader. Is he the ultimate bad guy here where he's like, if I find 50 good people, and he goes in, he's looking, and he brings, right, Abraham along, he's like, Abraham, let's count. 1, 2, there's 3, there's a group of children there, there's 7, 9, 11, 12, 45, 46, 47, 48. Oh, we got 2 more over there. 49. Killer. Oh, we didn't get it. Oh, 49. What a shame. Kill them. Do you know, like, is that what's about to happen here?
The good people in Sodom, I will save the city to keep them from being killed.
Abraham answered,
I am nothing more than the dust of the earth. Please forgive me, Lord, for daring to speak to you like this. But suppose there are only 45 good people in Sodom. Would you still wipe out the whole city?
If I find 45 good people,
the Lord replied,
I won't destroy the city.
Oh, okay.
Suppose there are just 40 good people.
Abraham asked.
Even for them,
the Lord replied,
I won't destroy the city.
Abraham said,
Please don't be angry, Lord, if I ask you what you will do if there are only 30 good people in the city.
If I find...
I think this is, like, pretty damning for Judaism, for what's going on in the world currently. This right here, Genesis 18, or Genesis chapter 18, verse 28, whatever, all these ones that we've been going through, these are not great for them. Because it's like saying, like, no, it doesn't, like, 30. No, even if it's going to go down, even if it's one good person in that city, I will not destroy it. And that's a hell of a noble thing, right? That is not the current state of affairs in the Middle East right now, or on the Gaza Strip. They don't have this thing here. So I'm curious to see, because right now this is just what the context we have.
30,
the Lord replied,
I still won't destroy it.
Then Abraham said,
I don't have any right to ask you, Lord. But what would you do if you find only 20?
Because of them, I won't destroy the city,
was the Lord's answer. Finally, Abraham said,
Please don't get angry, Lord. If I speak just once more.
It was 9. The answer was 9.
Only 10 good people there.
For the sake of 10 good people,
the Lord told him,
I still won't destroy the city.
After speaking with Abraham, the Lord left, and Abraham went back home.
Okay.
Genesis 19. That evening, the two angels arrived in Sodom.
Okay, so now we're getting to Sodom and Gomorrah, where we're about to go investigate. We're going to go find out if there's just 10. We just need 10 people. Just 10 good people in Sodom and Gomorrah to save the city. Do we have 10 good people? That's what we'll find out in Genesis 19. Okay, so we had more descendants, and that I can't. Like, I'm done with the descendancy. I've skipped it. We can rip it out of the book. We don't need it. I don't think we need it. We didn't need that. You could have just said yada, yada, yada. You could have just done that. You did that in that part of the book. You gave so many horrible, like, really long-winded answers, and then went, yeah, and then yada, 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 you know what I mean? Like, you could have just done that originally. Like, we didn't have to do all that. So I don't like that. I don't like that part of the book. Now, the second part of the book that's interesting is the whole Noah and then Abraham and how all of these things are treated. It's very, very interesting. But it is the Bible, right? It is the Old Testament, right? We're about an hour into about 3.5 hours. We've got a long way to go. And we did some good work today getting through it. Awesome. I want to thank you for being here with me this week. I apologize that maybe I'm a little more gruff and more on edge. A little more, I was going to make a Bible joke, but I can't think of one right now. You know, a little more gruff, a little more Cain, a little less Abel, you know. And, yeah, we are going to continue this next week. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time, and ciao. See ya. Bye.